Gambit VR, is this game for you? Well, hopefully this video is going to answer that question for you, good sir or madam. Now, I know everyone's looking forward to new games coming out, and of course with new games comes opinions, and of course this is just my opinion. But today we're going to dive into Gambit VR. I'm going to explain to you about my time and experience in the game. I've played it on both Quest and PCVR, and it's time to put those two things head to head. How does it look on both? How does it play on both? And what is the experience all round playing Gambit VR, and would I recommend it to you? These are all the questions I'm going to answer in today's video. Now, what is Gambit VR? That's probably the first question that we should answer. So let's dive into what it is and what is this game about. Gambit VR is a fast-paced multiplayer shoot that takes place in a futuristic world filled with high-tech weapons and gadgets. The game features a variety of game modes including deathmatch, team deathmatch and capture the flag. This whole game can be played entirely solo if you want to as well for the story mode, but you have the options to get in with a bunch of friends as well and just have a great time. Now, one of the things that I really enjoyed about this is the fact that you can go in solo as well. It doesn't exclude anybody, no matter whether you're a solo player that just wants to go in and have a hardcore good time with the story mode, or whether you want to go in with a bunch of friends and still enjoy that same story mode but evolved to deal with 4 people. So I think that's a very unique feature and something that I'd love to see more going into games sort of moving forward. Like, there are still a lot of games where you can experience it the same way both ways, but this felt like I didn't feel held back by having just me in the game or having a group of friends in the game. So it was a very cool experience nonetheless on either way. At the end of this, I will show you some gameplay of this as well, just me getting in and having a good time, just to show off to you why and, you know, give you a better idea of why I think this is a dope game. Now, I will say the campaign for this is very fun. I had a lot of fun with it. I've put around 2 hours into each platform, so unfortunately 4 hours, but about 2 hours onto each platform, so 2 hours into Quest, 2 hours into Steam VR, just to sort of get a feel for this game and get an understanding of whether I think it's going to be right for you guys and gals. This is by no means a full review of the game, this is just a first impressions and what I think of the game and will it be any good for you. Now, to dive into the experience on both Quest and PCVR, I'm happy to report that honestly, like, both experiences are freaking pretty damn solid. I didn't feel that much held back by playing on Quest on this. Now, I have a feeling this is the kind of game that was developed for Quest in mind first, so that's probably why I don't feel like I'm being held back at all. But also, it's a hell of a good sign to show that the developers have thought about this and they have made a game that just isn't negligible. You know, you don't lose anything from either of these platforms, which is just fantastic. They're also cross-play, so you can play with your buddies that on either end of the gaming world, be it PCVR or Quest. So pretty dope, I think, that you can kind of get away with doing both things. I really enjoyed the game mechanics of this game. It's very crude in places. You can actually turn it off. There is a filter so that you can extract all of the F-bombs and everything else out of there, which I think is a very smart move on their behalf, as this kind of game, it can lead to sort of like people getting a bit upset and offended. But now there's a filter just for that, so you don't need to get offended or upset. Winning. But anyway, all joking aside, like, there is cool that they've done that. There's plenty of comfort options, so don't worry about those sorts of things. You've got literally all of the stuff that's standard across things now, you know, blinders and vignettes, smooth turn, snap turn, all the other types of things, head movement, hand movement, all of the things that have now finally become really generalized across all VR games is now there so that we all feel comfort in every single way. Now, of course, let's bounce back to that other stuff that I was talking about. Not only is there a full campaign in this game that can be played solo or multiplayer, so you also have things like team deathmatch, deathmatch and capture the flag modes, which kind of just add to the flavor of this whole thing and make it just a little bit more fun. So I think that side of things gives you a little bit more replayability. Now, I will say as a caveat that of course it fully relies on the community that gets like behind this game. As always with all multiplayer VR games, they have a short shelf life, unfortunately, in how long that people pay attention to them for. There's only a few games that I can think of that I can walk into and just find a match. So really things like Pavlov, because they have a huge community behind them, and other games of that nature, shooters. Then you kind of go into the other realms of things like After the Fall tends to have a very active community around it, so you can get in there, plus it's cross-play between all the platforms. So I really hope that this falls into that same category. I don't see why not, as it's got a lot of fun elements to it, but of course course, just take that element and that side of this game with a grain of salt, as it really depends on the community that they build around this game. Now, for the gameplay itself, it's a highly comprehensive shooter that rewards skill and strategy. You need a variety of different weapons and gadgets to defeat your opponents and capture the objective or take out the objective. Now I found when I was playing this, I really enjoyed myself. Like, it was super fun, very arcadey. I would say that it like has a very arcadey feel to it, you know, where money's popping out of them as they die and like fries and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of the really old top-down GTAs where you'd kill people and just, you know, weird things would pop out. But nonetheless, like, that sort of element of it really plays into the game, and they kind of really lean into that side of sort of like having a bit of a humor about everything and making it feel like that across the entire board, which is super important. Even like silly things like when you go into a game, you get this. You know, they've just got a good sense of humor about everything, and it just kind of bleeds right through the whole game. If it was just here and there, I think it would feel kind of like a bit of a miss, but because they do it in such a clever way across the entire game, it really lends itself to a fun experience. Now, I feel like I've kind of spoken a lot about this entire game at this point. Like, I hope you've got a good idea about what the game has to offer you, the different kinds of game modes, and if you do have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I will leave off by saying the gunplay in this is pretty spicy. You also get some cool weapons like charging up shock pads or like chainsaws and all sorts of fun things like that. So each character does have attributes that gives you a bit of a different experience. Other than that, I think we should just dive in. I'm going to show you some gameplay now and leave it off there, let you make your own opinions after. It's time! Brrrah! Brrrah! Everyone go bye-bye now. How you like that? Yeah. Woohoo! Buddy, don't think so. Anyone else? Ah! Nothing like killing everyone, boys. It's kind of harsh, wasn't it? Woo! Let's go. Anyone else coming in? And clinky clonky. Let's freaking go. Woohoo! Get wrecked. Uh-oh. Woo! Alright, okay. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-wee, my friend. Give me that money. Reloading. More? Where? Where are you seeing? Oh, over there.
This isn't your guys' lucky day.
Lovely job. Lovely job, everyone. What is this? Dangerous attention warning. What does that mean? Uh-oh. Get wrecked, bud. Jeez Louise, look at this morons. Get on your feet, buddy. Oof.